We can now navigate onto our M page. So we would navigate into perioperative nurse here, and we would navigate onto our recovery PACU workflow M page. Once we select the tab, we can see all of the appropriate components along the left-hand side that consist and make up this M page. We can see here that we are currently on the documents component, so we can see this by the little blue line here, and then that just means that whatever's on the right hand side is the section we're on. So we can navigate through the M page. If we wanted to jump to the allergies and adverse reactions section, we would click on it. The blue line's telling us this is the section that you're on, and we can see here on the right hand side that we're on this section. You can also navigate between the components by utilizing the scroll bar up the right hand side, and if you scroll you can see that on the left our blue line is changing depending on where we've scrolled to. But ideally we would work through it from top to bottom. So if we look at our documents, we can now see here any documents that have been completed. For example, we can see that we have our intraoperative record for the patient. If we click on our intraoperative record, to the right hand side we can see a summary of the intraoperative record. We can scroll down and view any information. If we want to see what procedure they had, the skin prep, the positioning, etc., we would just scroll down along the intraoperative record until we find any information that we need. And once we've finished scrolling, we would just select the cross to close that. We would also be able to see surgeon's op note if they've completed it at that point, any pre-operative checklists, etc. And we can just select and view any of the documents within this section. We can now see that the next section is anaesthetic records. So once the anaesthetist has completed the anaesthetic records, that would appear within this section. Obviously we can see no results found because we haven't recorded an anaesthesia record for this case, but it would appear as above. Apologies. Within the history section, we can see that there are 5 different tabs. We have problems, procedures, family, social, or pregnancy. If any history has been recorded within each tab, we'll be able to select and review. So for example, if there are any problems documented against the patient, we'll be able to see them. We can also add in a problem. If appropriate, that would then add the problem here. We can see procedures, such as the one completed, as well as in any implants. If there was any family history recorded, any social history, and any pregnancy. We also have a pregnancy overview. If there is any active pregnancies for the patient, we would be able to view them or add them in here. Any medication or medical devices inserted, we would be able to see here. We also have allergies or adverse reactions, so this patient has no known allergies documented against them. The labs component would allow us to see any labs for the last month or the last 6 months or 12, etc., depending on the filter. The blood loss calculator would show us any blood loss calculated by the intraoperative theatre staff. So as we did record some blood loss earlier, we can see that here. Lines, tubes and drains. So we can see here any lines, tubes and drains recorded as inserted by the anaesthetist or theatre staff. So we can see that there was an arterial line and a urinary catheter inserted, and it will tell us the details of that and the date and time it's been inserted. In terms of handover details, this is a free text box. You would be able to type in any handover details to the ward. And then we would hit save, and it would save that information. Post-op instructions. If there are any post-op instructions specifically from recovery for the ward, we would type them in here. Please note these are different from the surgeon's post-op instructions. The post-op instructions from the surgeon will be recorded in the surgeon's op note. We can see on the next section fluid balance and vital signs. We would be able to see any vital signs recorded from the BMDI machines. And we can also select the hyperlink to take us to the vital signs section for visibility. We navigate back. And the last component is the recovery complications. So if there are any complications during recovery, we would record it here. Once we've documented everything that we would need to within all these components and sections, we would then be able to create a handover note to the ward. So please note, once you've finished your documentation, you would record a recovery PACU handover note. But obviously we have got a few more sections to document for recovery, so we would navigate to assessment fluid balance.